I'm here to remind you that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And another one to remind us about this is this guy right here, Tony the Tiger. Probably the most famous cartoon character that never had an animated feature or a TV series of his own. Now the thing about Tony the Tiger, is that he's great. He's okay. He'll do. He's fine. But I'm going to come back to him a little bit later because you may not be aware that there's a Disney connection. Now some of you diehard Disney fans are probably thinking, I know what you're talking about. But do you? Do you really? We'll find out later. But Tony is a great place to start because we're going to be talking about cereal boxes today, and especially animated characters that appeared on cereal boxes. Now Tony came along in 1952, and he was one of the first in a long line of cereal mascots that were created especially for cereals and cereal boxes. Now Kellogg's has Tony the Tiger and Toucan Sam. General Mills has Lucky the Leprechaun for Lucky Charms. They also have Sunny the Cuckoo Bird for Cocoa Puffs, and the Trix Rabbit. And of course, Quaker Oats has Cap'n Crunch. These were all characters that were created in animation for cereal boxes and of course TV commercials. But there's also a long tradition of using established animated stars to help promote cereals on the boxes and in commercials. For example, the Hanna-Barbera characters, Bugs Bunny, Woody Woodpecker, even the Pink Panther. And the Pink Panther had his own cereal, Pink Panther Flakes. They turned the milk pink. The whole tradition of using animated stars to help promote cereals started with, guess who? Mickey Mouse in 1935. The Post Cereal Company paid Walt Disney $1.5 million to use Mickey on their brand of cornflakes, Post Toasties. And of course, $1.5 million is an incredible amount of money now, but in the 1930s, that's like something like $30 million. So it was an incredible deal and an incredible amount of money, and really showed Mickey's star power. So Mickey appeared in cutout form with his friends on the boxes of Post Toasties from 1935 to 1942. Obviously, these cutouts were very popular, and as the features came along with Snow White in 1937, followed by Pinocchio, say, in 1940, those characters were on the boxes as well, in addition to the Silly Symphonies characters. And this went through 1942. So it was a big deal. Certainly Walt Disney was aware that in the depths of the Depression, for some children, these cutouts were the only playthings they had. So it was important in that way as well. The Disney characters have continued to be important spokespersons for breakfast cereals even after that Post Toasties deal was over. For example, in 1946, Cheerios offered the Disney characters in comic book form as mini comic books you could send away for. And then with Wheaties in 1951, a whole other series of comics were available. This was the second series. And I even have one of them here. This is Little Bad Wolf, and he appeared in his own little comic here, as well as Mickey, Donald, Pluto, and the other Disney stars. Here I have an example, Little Bad Wolf, appearing in his own little comic book. And on the back we see now 4 sets of comic books, all new, all different. There were 4 sets available, and this was in the 4th set, which they called Set D. And these were available through Wheaties, as you can see here. The General Mills deal continued through the 1950s. When Disneyland opened in 1955, there were Disneyland premiums, cutouts, etc. available through Cheerios. Now General Mills and Post are big cereal companies, it's true, but the cereal giant is Kellogg's, as you've probably guessed. They are the best-selling cereal brand. In 2002, it was a huge big deal that Kellogg's made a deal with Disney to feature Disney characters on cereal boxes and indeed in their own brands of cereal. This was a huge multi-million-dollar deal and multi-year and multinational. So in that year, 2002, Disney and Kellogg's unveiled 3 brand new cereals at the Disney store in New York. Those cereals were Mickey's Magics, Honeybees, and Buzz Blasts. And we're going to take a look at those cereal boxes now. I don't have an example of Buzz Blast, but of course we'll show you a picture. That was Buzz Lightyear, Pixar themed. But I do have the Mickey's Magics box, which is really appealing. It has such a great artwork. It has some dimension to it. This shiny sorcerer's hat, really fun. A lot of detail to look at while you're eating your cereal. Back here we have Goofy and Donald, and way back here in the castle, Pluto. On the back we have some Mickey's magic tricks. Really fun. And the whole magic aspect of this magic cereal, which has the marshmallow pieces in different shapes, including Mickey's head, is that the cereal turned the milk blue, as it says right here. Wow, the milk turns blue. Later, they changed it so the milk would turn purple, and they added different shapes of the marshmallows as well. This is very typical, of course. The cereals are always changing to try to keep up interest from the consumer. But anyhow, this is a really fun and beautifully done cereal box. Now here's the same box, more or less. Hasn't changed too much, just repositions Mickey, because the designers wanted to make room for a premium, which was in the box like this. I don't know how well you can see this, but you get the idea. And this is a very cool prize, because this is a CD, and it plays a 10-minute story about Donald getting into some magic that turns him blue, just like the milk. So Mickey, Minnie, and Goofy have to figure out a way to turn Donald back into his normal self. And what's really fun for me, as a big Ludwig von Drake fan, is that Ludwig von Drake is a big part of the story. They turn to him for help in doing that. This recorded story features the character voices and some wonderful music, songs that are based on classical pieces. There's even a song about the internet. So this is very, very fun, from 2003. And on the back we have some art and some little story elements that match up with the story on the CD. So I'll read you what it says. There's a little description on this side panel. And it says, Mickey's Music CD. Sing along with Mickey and friends as they ponder how to break the blue spell on Donald. Tunes include A Mouse Like Me, Picture Mickey's Extraordinary Life, Your Library, the place for everything you need to know. Technology, it's the wave of the future. And it says here that there were 3 different CDs, so that's pretty cool. It says collect all 3. So I feel pretty lucky to have this, both the box and the CD. And I think that's a very cool premium. It's not like a plastic figure or a plastic toy. It's an actual CD that you can play. The third cereal that was issued, as I mentioned, was Honeybees, and as you might guess, that was Winnie the Pooh's cereal. So I have this box here. And as a matter of fact, it's never been opened. So the cereal is still inside. It probably doesn't taste very good at this point, but it's still inside. Talk about an authentic collector's item. There we go. So this cereal, which is naturally sweetened honey graham cereal, features these little graham cracker-like shapes, honey pots, and also these Winnie the Pooh faces, which are really cute. So this was really well thought out. Now actually, Winnie the Pooh had a long history as a cereal box celebrity. In the late 1960s, the Nabisco cereals, Wheat Honeys and Rice Honeys, had a Disney license, and they had promotions where they tied in with the theatrical releases of Bambi, a reissue of course, The Jungle Book, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, another reissue, and of course Winnie the Pooh. They gave away as premiums these wonderful little breakfast buddies, as they were called, these little figures, and they were offered not only in 1966 for the release of Winnie the Pooh and the Honey Tree, but also then again in 1968 for the release of the sequel, Winnie the Pooh and the Blustery Day. And there were other Pooh premiums as well. Pooh was apparently a very popular matchup with Rice Honeys and Wheat Honeys. After all, those cereals have honey, Pooh's favorite, right in their names. So in 1971, those cereals were transformed into Winnie the Pooh Great Honey Crunchers. So Winnie the Pooh had his own cereal in 1971. So it made perfect sense that Winnie the Pooh continued his cereal celebrity status with honeybees. Again, just like on the Mickey box, we have the Winnie the Pooh characters here in the background. It's very cute. Here's Piglet, Rabbit, Kangaroo. They're all very much in character. On the back, we have Pooh's Thoughtful Spot, a fun little activity to do while you're eating your cereal. And on the side, it says, "It's another fun day in the 100-acre wood where Pooh and his friends are playing and discovering something new wherever they go. And you can go right along with them. Just look at the back of this box for fun Pooh games." And it also features this little advertisement. Look for these other new cereals from Kellogg's and Disney. And we have Mickey's Magics and Buzz Blast. So very fun. Now another cereal box I thought I would share with you was, when it was first introduced, not part of the Disney family, but since then certainly has become part of the whole Disney universe. So we have, yes, it's true, Star Wars cereal. This was a tie-in with the original prequels to the original trilogy, so it's very, very cool, and of course very exciting for all Star Wars fans. Now there were other Star Wars serials that came along after 2002 to tie in with the newer Star Wars films, for example in 2015 and then again in 2019, and they had the new characters as well as some of the old favorites on the covers. But these serials tied in with the original prequels, and that's why it says here Episode 2. Now in 1984, Kellogg's introduced the first Star Wars cereal, which was C-3PO's, and as you can see, the box was really cool and even had masks sometimes as part of the premiums that were extremely well done. But this Star Wars cereal was introduced by General Mills in 2002, coincidentally the same year as the Disney cereals. And it actually says here, if you look closely, Star Wars Episode 2 cereal. This tied in with Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, which was released in 2002. So there were two designs. One had Anakin Skywalker, and this one, which features Obi-Wan Kenobi, as you can see. So if you have ever wanted to have breakfast with Ewan McGregor, this was your chance. And the design is really cool. It has this sort of hologram effect and this kind of foil type shiny design and makeup on the box. And then in the back we have this adventure game. And on the side panel here we have some of the different marshmallow shapes. Clone Trooper, red lightsaber, blue lightsaber, Yoda, R2-D2, and the Jedi Starfighter, and the different shapes and what they mean. So really fun for the Star Wars fan. And it even says, they're not kidding around now, they want you to collect this box. It's called Collector's Edition number 1. So designed to be a collectible, and again, this box is not even open. The cereal is still inside. And I wouldn't recommend eating the cereal at this point, but if you do, may the force be with you. Now you might recall I said I would come back to Tony the Tiger. Here he is. The Disney connection is, first of all, his voice was done by Thurl Ravenscroft. Thurl Ravenscroft is a name that might not be familiar to a lot of Disney fans, but they would certainly recognize his voice, not only as the voice of Tony the Tiger and his famous "They're great" tagline, but also as a very familiar and very deep voice. He was certainly in many of the animated features, usually in a small role. So, for example, he was in The Sword in the Stone as a knight who insists on giving Wart a chance to pull the sword out of the stone again. And in the Aristocats, he's the Russian cat that is part of Scat Cat's band. He's also well known for his roles in the Disney parks, especially in such classic attractions as the Haunted Mansion, where he's one of the singing voices and the face on one of the singing busts. He's the one with a mustache, and in fact he's often mistaken for Walt Disney. And he's the voice of Fritz, the German-accented parrot in Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room. So he's a true Disney legend. The second Disney connection that even a lot of diehard fans might not know is that Tony the Tiger was designed by Martin and Alice Provenson. They were prolific illustrators of children's books that they also wrote. Over the years they did many a children's book, and they were award-winning artists. And in 1952 they designed Tony. So what's the Disney connection? Well, Martin was an artist in the late 1930s and early 40s in the legendary character model department, which was headed by Joe Grant, and they were in charge of designing the characters and making the animators' models and model sheets. And Martin was one of the really terrific artist that was part of that small elite group that Walt Disney himself relied on. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. And just a reminder that this video is valid in the continental United States, except where prohibited by law. Sorry, Tennessee.